Hey everybody, it's Scott and Rita. This is Cosmic Dialog 51. We're at cosmicfixer.com. So what would you like to talk about, Rita?
I would like to take this opportunity to talk about something we're going to do and speak about it as if it's happened and what happened in it, because this is a perfect time when people are really feeling an intense amount of negative emotions given what's going on socially, structurally, um, in the power structure, and feeling helpless.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent.
So should I just start?
Yeah, go ahead and start. Go
Okay.
ahead.
All right. So there was a time a couple of months ago that things were really just simmering, and we could all feel there was something going on that wasn't being revealed, and we were feeling the anxiety of it. It was almost like being in an abusive relationship where you feel the pressure cooker building, and you almost want to make something happen, and it triggers you so that you can make the lid blow on it and get that anxiety and that tension out of the way. And you and I were noticing that, but we didn't want to play into that whole abusive pattern. And so we decided to offer this opportunity for people to step out of that tension. And we put together this gathering of meditators. And we wanted to just do this experiment of letting people know we were going to have this time of meditating. And while we were all gathered in various parts of the globe, we knew that we would be connected, the dots would be connected, and that energy of not opposing what is going on, not as an angry resistance to it, but an up level stepping out of it to where there's no way for that structure to control us, and to see what kind of effect that would have on the outcome of what was going on. So what was your experience going in?
Well, I think my experience going in, there was a lot of chatter that I had to get through. And I think people's initial reaction to this was of, we need to take action, we need to do this. So it was a little bit of resistance right away. So it was, but if they could see that I was calm, then that would actually give them permission to be calm. So I saw that force. And so we actually accepted that. And if I would have conversations about folks about meditating, I would actually see their frustration and just say, I understand your frustration. I see that. That isn't going away, but let's lift up to a different level for a moment. And so I think people really resonated with the idea of, this is a moment, and we can take this moment and lift ourselves to a different area, a different plane, a different existence for a while. And then it's just total permission to go back to wherever you were feeling after that. But it was just that taking one moment in time to release kind of this earthly, adherence to a power structure. An earthly adherence to a power structure where we could actually get into the mind, get into interdimensional space, if people wanted to call it that. And and just travel there and send out, a positive wavelength to, or however people wanted to visualize that, so that we could collectively belong to a different power grid, power structure, that it was just a collective conscious power grid of sorts. And so that was a lot of people didn't know what to do, but it was just a fun experiment, that it's okay not to know what to do, but it's we're getting out of that busy mind and coming together in a different place, and then through this knowledge we will gain what to do. So it was that was fascinating. So it was an exercise of trust, and just an exercise of getting the busy brain out of the way. This was something so counter to the common reactions of the day, whether it was cheering or support or protest or frustration or anger or feeling helpless. It was stepping into something completely different, where we could actually just have that moment. And people did, they actually felt like they connected somewhere. And
well, what we discovered was that that it wasn't about affecting a specific outcome that any individual person wanted to have happen or wanted to fix. It was about allowing correction to be gifted to the system that's in place by exactly many people getting out of it. And this is what it's a paradox of, well, you can't do nothing, but actually stepping out of the way is so much more effective than stepping in and fighting it. When you refuse to fight, there's no fight. It can't. It's it's a vulnerable place, and that's what people were resisting, allowing, is putting themselves in a vulnerable place. And what we found during our meditation was that they discovered that actually that vulnerable place is really a very powerful feeling, and so much more powerful than the feeling of fighting and anger and tension. Yeah. And so what did you observe in that regard?
Well, I know for me, and then I did speak to some other folks afterwards too, for me it was just this feeling of that the earth was in a totally different space, that we could hop to a different place where we could feel total appreciation. And that there were people who said, I heard the birds chirping for the first time in months, or they really felt that they had a connection now with the earth, that they felt like, oh my gosh, through this quietness, the earth spoke to me, or the spirit of the earth spoke to me. And for me, I know it was more about feeling like I was connected to this whole ancestral way of being. I study the ancient Celts, but we are part of this whole story. And so I felt more connected to the entire story rather than just my little chapter. And so for me, it was like I could connect with all those people back in time who were struggling, who were working not necessarily just to undermine a system, but who were working inside a system, who were part of the struggle, part of a the workings of putting cracks in the mastermind system so that people could be more free. And so that made me feel more appreciative for that. And to know that my role is just as much an archetype as it was in the past, as it was before them. You know, I mean, so it really felt like, okay, we're still part of this story. And for a lot of people, I think they felt more empowered to feel that they were more part of the story. They were more part of this cosmic journey of this is what the human experience is about. And so that actually helped propel them into new areas of life, new possibilities where they could hold their space rather than have it jarred by something as small as politics or a leader that texts your phone. You know, it's no different than, you know, someone on a loudspeaker in your village. It's now he's on your phone. You know, it's just kind of that kind of feeling rather than, you know, Armageddon. They're kind of like, okay, I've seen that before many lifetimes ago. It's just a different way. And so we have the knowledge of ancestors and those inner planes folks who have worked on this for centuries, for millennia. And so that was what I felt after meditating. What about you?
Well, I've dealt individually with enough abusive people, bullies, to know that when you just, okay, if it doesn't affect you, if you just stay in your space, that it completely disarms them. And if it can happen on an individual one-on-one space, it can happen even bigger on a more in a global space. And really, I've had to get to where, well, I've tried everything else, so I'm going to try this with people who are unreasonable in my life. And so it's kind of gotten to that in our society. It's like, well, what else are we going to do? Let's give this a try. And sometimes that giving up is the very thing that opens the door for the real solution to come through. So here we are back to giving up or quitting.
And I kind of found out too that like through this quitting and giving up, that also more was revealed. So that was another thing that happened, was the more people we got on board, the more people who kind of meditated and did this, it was almost as if, you know, going into that other space actually helped reveal more of, you know, the tactics. People started understanding, okay, they would immediately see a tactic and then they wouldn't have to react. So it was like a real revealing for me, at least. It was a very big revealing of, you know, just in my practice of that, just to, once you know the bully's tactics, you meditate, you let go, you see clearly, you don't let that affect you. It reveals so much, and then they start revealing themselves even stronger. And so through our letting go, and I believe it, because through our letting go and through this kind of action, a lot of us saw, oh wow, they're really revealing their hand more now. And so that was kind of like that experiment helped them to kind of implode, because there's no, in tennis, for example, like if you don't hit pace back to your opponent and they're expecting that, they're going to overhit. They're going to just try and sail something over you, and they're going to end up making errors. They're going to hit things out. They're going to hit things in the net. If you don't give them that pace back, you just absorb their pace, let them run to you and tire themselves out. it was that same kind of feeling for me of like, I'm not going to hit this back to you with your same pace. You're going to have to try even more, and you'll reveal yourself while you're trying even more, because I've let that go.
Right. Yeah. And it was our desire, and we both have intense desire to assist people, to break them out of what's not working. It's not working. Please notice this is not working on any level, for you, for me, for the people who are on board with the system. It is not working for them. And to be able to look at it from a broader perspective, and yeah, that desire just made us put together this gathering, and in it, you guided the meditation while we had one camera on me creating a circle. And that's the circles there, they were brought to me for a purpose, and I just do what they've asked. And this is one of the things they wanted to do, to possibly help people move out of the way so that a higher sense of knowing can do the work that it wants to do, and that we are simply blocking constantly, every day, every minute of every day, we're blocking it. But it's there. Correction is right there, ready to go into full force and make the correction happen without our assistance. Thank you very much.
All we have to do is just sort of show up and listen.
Exactly.
And let that come through. We don't have to force. And in many ways, with that knowledge and with that way of doing things, is like it's the we've already won situation.
Yeah, how's that feel?
It feels great.
Mm-hmm.
So it's you can't take that away. You won't be able to take that away. This gathering of souls, you will not take that away. Because
winning, in our definition of winning, means that everybody wins. It doesn't mean that somebody has lost.
Right.
And that's why it feels good.
Yeah, it feels amazing. And, it's that whole idea of just there's a place at the table. There is always a place at the table for any soul. And it's, you can tap into compassion with that any time, even if someone you feel is like you're adversarially in a relationship, adversarially in this earth space. So this, space at this meditative table to just allow correction. Maybe it's even for yourself, to allow correction for yourself, to do that fix me first. Maybe you're part of this and you don't want to be part of it, like this whole power structure force, but you're in a job or and so this offered folks like that kind of an opportunity just to understand that they can allow and release and be part of that and be at the table if they wanted to. So it was a different space, and it's like we opened up a new door for people to go through. It was a new possibility, something new on the menu.
Right. Yeah, and it was just our desire to help the correction happen. No opt-in thing. No, we want your email, or no obligation to work with us or buy a circle. Just take this opportunity and walk through this door, and you can go back anytime. If you would prefer to go back and be in tension and anxiety and anger, and go ahead. we'll see you later.
You can come here anytime, and there's no top 10 lists of top 10 ways to destroy the paradigm. No top 10 lists, no crafty search engine optimized sayings and blog posts. It was just an invitation. So,
and the beauty of it was that they could replay it anytime in order to get back there, until they didn't need it anymore. And so anybody new could jump on board and play it. And so actually these connected dots started growing, and we didn't have we could feel it growing, whether anybody reached out to us or not to tell us that they had seen it. But we could feel it growing, and it was obviously having an effect on what was going on in the world. And you couldn't point at the reasons why, but who cares? As long as it has an effect on things, as long as the corrections take place. I don't need any credit in any way, because it doesn't have anything to do with us. It was us getting out of the way finally.
Right, and just there was that other realm that helped correct things. We bring heaven to earth when we get into that space.
Mm-hmm.
If that's a metaphor that you want to use. So, we just bring that down with us when we go up there, and I think too, it also helped both of us just detach from the outcome, and we didn't have to actually see more hits on the website. We didn't have to see how many people downloaded or participated or whatever. It was just, we could actually sense, because we practiced it more and more, and we would listen more, and we didn't have to have that validation. We felt that. So, and as other people felt that, we could actually tell. And there were, and now it's like near Christmas time, and there was a day, and I don't remember if you remember this, but there was a day where I felt such extreme hope right around that time, right around this, December-y, I can't picture it, but there was a day that I felt this extreme hope that just washed over me. I went outside, there was snow, the sun was out, and there was one particular day where that was just like, hope was just radiating down, and that was the moment I was like, okay, this is the path.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That was the validation I needed. I didn't need a website or hits or subscribers.
Yeah. Imagine that. Just the validation is just there from really an entity that matters so much more than any of us on the planet at the moment.
Oh yeah. I believe that our sun has consciousness. So, and for that to kind of like just rain down this feeling of hope. Other people felt that too, just around town. I think I went and got my hair cut, and people, it just feels really great today. Even though it's wintry, it's just a beautiful wintry day. And it was like this, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and things were shifting.
Mm-hmm. So it's when we get into that space, there is no struggle. We've gotten out of the way, and we let the natural course happen. So we know who we are. And it's like the sun is saying the same thing to us that, your poster says, that whole, I don't need anything from you. You don't have to be anything for me. There's no hurry. And just, I love you. So, that's kind of the same kind of feeling. just like your circles. It's just that feeling of, you're in this space and there's no hurry. This is just the whole story of humanity. And you'll see signs from me, the universe, God, whatever, that you're still supported. You're still loved. Whether it's the sun, whether it's birds, whether it's the earth, whether it's a neighbor who reaches out a hand. Just that feeling and those kinds of validations have started coming through for me and for other people who have mentioned it to me, who have joined in the meditation. It's like this little energy of love is just kind of like poking through, and there's really not a lot of stopping it.
Right. Yeah. And this really started working on me when someone mentioned to me, someone who's much less confrontational and involved in the usual way of doing things, just said, I just want to float away. And so it's just like, okay, let's do it. Let's float away for a while and create that feeling and see that actually floating away it's that metaphor of going with the current. And just what you said, let the natural correction take place.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Rita.
Thank you.